Sorry, no lo siento. Sorry, no lo siento. No lo siento. No lo siento. Sorry, no lo siento. No lo siento. No lo siento. Sorry, no lo siento.
It should be like, sorry. And then you're like, no lo siento.
How you been, Nicole? How you been since
think
your pod has been ended?
since my
Since the pod
podcast
ended.
ended,
Yeah.
it's been interesting. It's been really weird not podcasting.
Mm.
I find myself like, oh, like something will happen and I'll be like, oh, I want to pod about that.
Yeah.
And I just haven't, because I just want to take a break and, you know, this has been a project and just also just reflecting on everything from podcasting, where I'm going,
Right.
where I'm heading, what I want to do.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, it's funny how it's funny how this the universe works, how timing works, and I think it was a good idea of us to introduce this podcast with the topic that we're going to talk about today, which is death, because I kind of disappeared too for a little bit. It wasn't planned. It wasn't something I didn't plan on taking this much time away from potting. But like you said, I've missed potting. I've realized in this time that this is my happy place, and this is where I love to just. I don't like tweeting. I don't like posting a lot. I mean, I know it's part of the game. I know you have to do it to grow your audience. I understand that, but this is my diary. Like, potting is where
Right.
I vent, where I like getting just my thoughts, my opinions out, my unwanted opinions. I don't really care who agrees and who doesn't, but I agree. I've missed potting. It's time to finally, get back into it. And, later in the pod, I'll break down more of where I was during my absence. But it wasn't planned. My last pod ended. It was supposed to end at episode 100. It ended the way it was supposed to end. But what happened after that was unforeseen. It was very unfortunate the way I started the New Year's. Just a lot. Just a lot that happened. And I don't know if I'm ready or not to come back, but when are you really ready, right? After you deal with like a
Right.
death or something you process so big. But I'm happy that we're here. I'm happy that I'm starting this new venture with you.
Thank you. Likewise. Yeah.
We've been talking about this. Hey, yo, bro, hit X on that. Hit X on her screen real quick. We've been talking about this for a minute, and we've been planning it. Talking behind the scenes a lot. I don't remember when the idea first started forming. Do you remember?
I don't even, it seems like after our podcast ended, then it just to me time just moved in this
Right.
weird way. Like I don't it feels like we talked about this a lifetime ago.
It,
But then it's like, was it really that long ago? Like because so much has happened and so much has transpired. But then it's like it's so hard to put your finger on when we actually had that conversation unless I went through my phone or my notebook.
right.
I couldn't tell you because it seems like we've been talking about this for a long time.
It's Yeah. It's been a minute. It's honestly before we both ended our pods.
Mhm.
I forgot what triggered me. It was something that I seen online or someone. It's something that I saw that I was like, "No, f that." Um, I'm saying f that because we're trying not to cuss on this pod. If
Right.
you hear bleeps, it's because we cuss. I'm really trying to grow. I'm trying to be más maduro on this. Be more
Mhm.
senor like in here. I'm trying
Trying
to
to
be more
evolve.
classy. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I'm trying not to use my dirty mouth. I'm not trying to use my dirty mouth. That's
Plus, if like a tia or my mom or someone,
is listening. Ooh, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, not that my mom would get offended. Hi, mom. But just para el respeto, try to keep
Nah,
it
exactly, for respeto, but that's I didn't even think about it like that, but it's true because what's crazy, that when I am around my mom, around like my tias and stuff like that, I don't cuss, and it happens so naturally. Like I don't even have to tell myself don't cuss. Like it's like a switch that just happens naturally. It's weird. So we're trying to restore the feeling of having pláticas back in the pláticas and real conversations, and sometimes the truth is not what you want to hear, and that's why we're calling this show "Sorry, Lo Siento," because we're sorry, not sorry. sometimes you
Sorry, no lo
gotta
siento. Yeah.
sometimes you gotta hear this, hear the message, hear the raw truth, and it may not be what you want to hear, but it is what it is. I'm sorry, lo siento. But how do you say it?
Sorry, no lo siento.
Exactly. I have to reroute a little bit back because we started talking about this pod probably around. I got triggered by something. I said, you know what, we gotta link up and do something, and I really wanted to focus on, and for a while we were trying to figure out kind of like what direction we wanted to take it in. We kind of had a little idea, but then I had met Amy around this time, and everything was just aligning weirdly, oddly. I went to my birthday. I went to I saw El Alfa, and I never been to a reggaeton concert, but
Nice.
all this brown, Latin, Hispanic like stuff started just aligning in my reality out of nowhere. I would just started seeing everything, and I started realizing, wow, it's a big market, and I don't really tap in with my people. I don't tap in with my culture, and I felt like when we started talking about this, I was like, you know what, like this is the perfect like segue to start speaking for our peoples, but not only for us, but like you said, the tias, the tios, the grandmas, the amas, the apas, everybody, the
Los hermanos,
man, los perros en la casa, man. We got dogs in the house sometimes. They're part of the family too. We give them the leftover food sometimes. The scrapes.
They get rice too.
That's why our dogs be so fast.
Yeah, but I think also when we were talking about all of this, it's also realizing that I wasn't familiar with any Latino or Latina or Hispanic podcasts out there.
Right.
But I think also the market is very saturated, and we don't really have the opportunity to support each other, I feel like. And I think it's a good way for us to highlight other people, in our communities, in our lives, ourselves, our culture.
Right.
Like, elevar la raza, and, not to make it a whole racial thing, but, if we don't support each other, who's really going to support us?
That's true. We've had our behind the scenes conversation about the people that do support each other.
Yeah. And I mean, no shade. It can be very cliquish, but I think that this is an opportunity for us to be able to
be cliquish.
To be cliquish.
Yeah.
Sorry, no lo siento, but we're gonna be cliquish. Like
real
así es.
Plática.
real plática. Like that's how, I mean, if we're gonna elevate, we have to elevate within our group.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And I think that we can also educate other people because we're open arms. This is open arms. This is not strictly for brown only or whatever you.
But it's focused on them. It's focused on them though.
But it's centered on.
Yes, it is 100%.
Cultura.
Inclusion for everybody, but this for la raza, this for us, this for our people, because we need more safe spaces talking too. And I'm not trying to like come in here and be this whole like spiritual, not even spiritual, but just this like fake either about like, oh, it's a safe space and everyone can, but nah, like we need more people, we need more spaces in our community that that can relate to people that are not fully that can fully relate to the actual raza, but they're still, born here, raised here. They might, they're infused with like the hip hop American culture, but still like Chicano culture. Like there's a lot of different type of I guess Hispanics. How do I say this?
There's a lot of layers to our culture.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm seeing it evolve in a way that I haven't seen it before.
Yes. I mean, we could have a whole podcast episode just on that in itself,
And we will, because we really want to focus on, I think the main point of this show really is to try to restore that feeling of just having conversations and having uncomfortable conversations sometimes, or even having conversations where like we boost each other up. Because I feel like sometimes in our families we hate on family members that start doing better than us, and we start looking at them kind of like. We might not verbally express it to them how we're like, we're happy for them, we congratulate them, but deep down they low key hating. It's like, man, I wish it was my kid that got the job and not your kid. Not you. Like I feel like Diaz and there's a lot of just like little subliminal hatred in our community, and I don't like that.
There's animosity.
Got all that Fuchis and all that.
No, it's real. There is a lot of I think there has to be a, how they say bridge the gap,
right,
with supporting each other,
yes,
and elevating each other. There's plenty of room at the table for everyone to eat, for everyone to do what they want to do.
There's enough room in el comedor for sure.
Para todos.
And then we have the folding tables outside. So we put them in the sala. Move the couches to the side.
Hey, that's so real. That's so real.
Oh man, but yeah. So hopefully, we get into some real conversation. We will get into some real conversations, but each episode will be dedicated to a different topic. We're gonna try. I think we're gonna try to stay away from like pop culture topics and like kind of mainstream topics. We're gonna start introducing segments throughout the pod. So eventually, as the episodes go by, you guys will be seeing new just segues and segments that are part of the show. But as of right now, this is like an introduction episode, just to give you guys a little, get you up to date on what's been going on, with us. I don't know about you, Nicole, but specifically me, and I feel like this is the time that I'm really expressing to people where I've been, where I've been low key. If you know, people know I haven't fully hit it from everyone yet, but I do feel like it's time to just it's time to get back to doing what I love to do. And yeah, again, thank you, Nicole, for embarking on this journey with me.
Thank you.
It's been a work
in progress, and trials and tribulations. Yes, here we are.
Yes, and I'm glad that we've continuously been working behind the scenes to get this going. It's not like we just woke up yesterday and we're like, okay, let's start recording tomorrow. Like, we definitely have been planning. There's a lot of we did at prior recordings. It's a lot of we've been trial and erroring through this, but like you said, it's needed. And I'm we're at a good space. I lost the engineer, so now we have De Uno, my good brothers in the building.
How you doing?
So I'm glad to have you in the building, bro. I don't know how long he'll be our engineer, guys. Hopefully you're here for a long time, not a good time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be here riding through.
Yeah, but I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sammy.
I know it's a lot. Just grasp.
No, it's good though. It's a learning process, so I'm up for it.
It's a whole. I have a whole control center over there, so I need someone on the board.
Learning, expansion on all levels.
Expansion on all levels. I'm realizing too, in this time that I've been reflecting and just gathering myself, I realized that I've known this for a while, but I'm at the point where I'm not even denying it no more. I can't do this shit myself, and I'm not even gonna act like I can. Of course, I can come in here and hit record, and I can still put out episodes if I really wanted to. But the way I want to elevate the sound, the way I want to elevate the brand, the way I want to elevate just everything, I need a team, and I'm keeping it real. And I may be getting in my own way, but I'm working towards it. I really am working towards it.
Yeah.
Sammy was random, like but like I said earlier, timing really is everything. Like his situation, timing worked out to where he was able to be here last minute because my other engineer kind of canceled on us last minute, but all love to her as well. Our peace and blessings to you, mija. I love you. I respect you, and hopefully, you level up that mind. Get your mind, your mind power back.
Find your way. That's
just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Swimming.
For reals though, you just have to keep on going through the ups and the downs, the trials, until you get to that point where you're satisfied with what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah. So we'll see how this pod turns out. As of right now, we'll be here every week. So we'll deliver you guys new messages, new entertainment, like content entertainment, right? And I want to voice this real quick, Nicole, because I don't want people to be like, "Oh, when are you guys gonna have a guest?" You'll know when we'll have guests. Trust.
Mhm.
You guys will know when we'll have guests, but as of right now, it's gonna just be me and Nicole. And if you
Yeah.
don't want to listen, there's many other pods y'all can listen to. Another thing, Nicole, I didn't say this earlier. Another main reason why I did want to start this type of show is that your podcast inspired my thought of doing this. I remember when I first hit you up and was like, "Yo, we should call it." I'm not even gonna say the name because it don't really matter. But
Right.
I said, "Yo, we should call it this." But I don't know if you were gonna use that for like a project or something else that you were gonna do. And you said, "Nah, let's run it. That would be perfect to do that." So shout out to your pod because you were very
Thank
vulnerable
you.
on your pod. You've been having the pláticas. You've been having the the temas and all that conversation,
With
being
myself.
vulnerable with yourself. Yeah, and people don't understand how hard that is.
Mhm.
Potting by yourself isn't easy. It really isn't easy. You lose and I really admire how you were able to just connect it all back. It was weird. Like you would start potting and you'd be on track, and sometimes you may like detour a little bit, but it somehow you would find the path back to the original point. And I loved how your podcasts were like each episode was a topic. It was based on a topic or a situation, and it was about an hour of your experience and you telling us. And not too many people can do that, and you would cry on there, you would laugh on there. I remember sometimes you said you would record something and not put it out because it was too raw, and
Yeah.
and I feel like that's the energy we're bringing to this
Yeah,
show.
we're raw and real. I think that I just wanted to be vulnerable. It was just me talking to myself. It was like my own therapy. Just like I'm sure you feel like podcasting is like this form of therapy. I just hope that when I do bring back season 3 of Healing with Nicole in the future, now my audio game's going to be a little bit, not a little bit, a lot of
A
it
lot
better.
yeah.
But I feel like that also kind of added to the fact that I just was there to give you my raw, real self on an iPhone. You know what I mean? Like I was and then I had like a little USB mic that I was using.
Wait,
But
hold on. The first episodes were on iPhone?
yes, they
Oh,
were on an
wow,
iPhone.
bro.
Yeah.
And I'd be complaining about, I need a mic, I need a mixer, I need all that.
I just did it that way, but
Right. No excuses.
no excuses. And I think that I've learned a lot about myself and the art of uh storytelling.
Mm.
I feel like that's something that there's other projects in mind that I want to work on, but that's the podcast kind of gave me that uh, confidence that it's like, oh, I can tell a story and I
Right.
can bring it back and I can and people can relate, because
Right.
I may not have the huge following and downloads and all that, but it's not about that,
Right.
because I've had so many people reach out to me and say, "Hey, I realized I had a drinking problem because of your podcast,"
Yeah.
or "I realized I was abusing substances because of your podcast," um or "I realized that I was an abusive partner in a relationship because of your podcast," like
Yeah.
just things like that where it's like, "Whoa, like it's a little ripple effect," and I'm okay with that. And I hope that with this podcast, we can together with our powers combined, we can definitely expand on reaching, the public and giving them what they need and just that, feeling like they're at home, talking to
Yeah,
us.
yeah. I'm excited to see what people say. Hang on.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be like a shocker, I feel.
You think they see this coming, or is it gonna be a bomb?
No, I don't think so. I think that I think that you and I are very similar in the sense where I post
Yeah.
because I post different things. I don't really post my personal. I post more about Reiki, or I post about
Right. Yeah.
tarot or
Yeah.
chakras. I keep it very like
Yeah.
surface. No one really I feel this is a way if people really want to get to know us, this is the way,
Right.
you know.
I do want to. I want to show growth on this show, for like
Mhm.
myself personally. I'm 28. I'm gonna be 30 in 2 years. I tell people I'm 28, and they still be like, "Oh, you're still a baby." I'm like, "Yo, when are you not considered a baby?" Because to me,
Right.
28 is like, bro, you're almost a grown adult. Like, how like you gotta figure something out. So I'm getting to my 30s, and I do feel like, I feel like you are mature than you're way more mature than me. I would say so, and just the way you just a bigger person for certain things. I'm not fully there yet, but on this show, I'm really trying to become that man, and hopefully this show does last a long. Hopefully we become successful to where they really do see that growth. But when I start my other pod, my pod, the OB pod, that's when you'll get the fun, ignorant, cussing, all over the place, Chris. But right here, I do want to take this serious, and I'm taking this one way more serious than my other pod because this is the place to like. You gotta read rooms, and this room is the
Right.
serious room. This room, well, I mean, we can joke and have fun. We're gonna laugh and all that, but this is the room where, yeah, like, what's good? How you feeling? Like, because I look at you as a therapist in a way, Nicole. Like
Thank you.
you were there for me during the tough time that the worst time I've ever experienced in my life, and I don't even know you physically. I haven't even met you physically. We've built an online relationship that's become a friendship, and because like I look at you like a big sister. Like every time, like I know you're gonna tell me what I need to hear. I know you're gonna tell me what I should do, like the better advice. Whether I want to do it or not, that's up to me. But you're always looking out for me. You have the best intentions for me. You're always telling me what I need to hear. You went through death as well, so you kind of are familiar with the feelings and the grieving and all that. So you knew what to tell me without being extra. You didn't get me annoyed. You weren't like, yo, how you doing? How you feeling? Like everybody else every day. You kind of were just like, yo, don't forget to drink water. Don't forget to eat. Don't forget to get some rest. Like it was always things that, like little things that, wow, yeah, I should drink water. I should eat something right now. It's almost 5 p.m. Yeah. So
Right.
shout out to you, Nicole, because you really helped a lot during that time, and I knew I knew I can count on you all the time while I was going through my situation.
Yeah. It was yeah, and I see you as like a brother for sure. And I feel like for me during that time with you, I was just telling you everything I wish somebody would have said to me,
Mm,
like,
mm.
because I didn't really have that. Like, so I was just like, oh man, I'm going to just tell Chris, hey, make sure you drink water because I went like the whole day not eating or drinking or, you know what I mean? And it's like, you got to take care of your vessel
When
in
you
order
went
to.
through your loss, did like how do you know you're depressed? I've never been depressed. Maybe I am. How do you know if you're depressed or just sad or going through it if you've never been depressed, sad, or going through it? Like,
Well,
what are certain elements that you were able to be like, okay, yeah, I need to talk to
well,
someone.
for me, it was so my situation was more long term dealing with the death and because my grandmother, my abuelita, she had pancreatic cancer. She was diagnosed in 2015, towards the end of 15, stage 5. So it was like,
Right?
geez, it
Yeah.
was already like every day. I'm like, it was already like that hit me like a ton of bricks, knowing that the person who showed me the most unconditional love in my life was dying, basically, and I was definitely depressed through the whole time. Like, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I was definitely, if I wasn't taking care of her, once I was off, like, I was on call all the time with making sure she was okay. If once I was off, I was just drinking or laying in bed. Like my family doesn't even know. Sometimes I wouldn't go to work for a couple days. I wouldn't get out of bed at all. I wouldn't eat. I would just cry, or I would just watch shows on Netflix. But it was like I wasn't watching it. It was just like on. Like I was just something to. So like days would go by.
You
I
wouldn't
was
do
just in.
nothing.
I would do nothing.
Wow.
Like, I literally like, if I didn't go to work, I would literally stay in my bed. I would not get up the whole day.
The whole
Like,
day.
the whole day. I would just be in bed. And then when I was, at work, I was getting work done. I was going to my grandma's appointments. I was doing this, I was doing that. But I was drinking a lot of alcohol, which was not good, so I was definitely depressed. And I think that once she passed away, I realized like I am on a very bad path of, alcoholism and depression, suicidal ideation, and I ended up going to group therapy, which I never cared about group therapy, but it was actually very helpful. It was all people who had experienced loss
Right.
or people who were like married for like 30 plus years whose spouse was currently dying. So it's kind of eye opening when you see other people going through it and you realize, um, wow, I was wasting the day. I even look back on it now as well. I'm going to be 37 this year. And I just look back on like, wow, what if I had not wasted 8 hours watching Netflix aimlessly? What if I had done, you know what I mean? What if I had
Mhm.
started potting then? What if, of course, the what ifs come up. I don't dwell on it, but I think that depression prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. If you're not doing anything, I mean, and you don't feel good, that's definitely a sign of
Depression.
depression. For me, that definitely was it. I
Right.
mean, I'm telling you, I wouldn't even shower until like the night. Like I wouldn't get up to eat. Wouldn't be hungry.
Right.
It just nothing mattered. Nothing excited me. It was just like whatever, you know. Um
Yeah. I mean, and like, so what causes what? At what point do you realize this is not what I should be doing? Or I need to snap out of this, or my grandma wouldn't want this. Like, what inspires you to get out the depression, or do you ever get out the depression? Because I'm also realizing that majority of people are still out and about living their regular lives, but deep down, people living their lives depressed.
mhm.
So it's like, does it something that you just learn to live with, that you just adapt to, or did you completely snap out of it, or like, how does it? What do you think?
So I think for me personally, once she passed away, a lot of things changed, obviously, but I was going to therapy. And that's when my therapist was like, well, you should go to group. And I was like, I don't want to go to group. I was very anti group. I don't know if that's like a cultural thing, especially like in the culture, when you
Yeah.
talk about therapy, it's like, oh, that's like horrible. But, I went to a couple group sessions. I realized that I was struggling with self love and I was struggling with grieving. I felt
Mm,
guilty. I felt like I couldn't express myself freely with other people and my family. I felt like I had to be strong for everybody else, but then who's being strong for me?
right.
And I think there were some breakthroughs in group, and I think this is a really important thing to say is that there was a woman who was Latina in the group, and she saw me from across the room, and she like waved at me, and I was like, at that time I was like very depressed, and I was just like, I hate the world, so I was just like, kind of like, okay, hey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she was like, oh, because we had to introduce ourselves, and I was like, oh, my name's Nicole Morales, and she came up to me, she's like, oh, are you Latina? And I was like, yeah, I am. And she was like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to have someone like me
Right.
here. Because when you go to these group things, and no shade, nothing against any race, it's mostly Caucasians. And I think it's just they're very open about that,
Yeah.
about talking about it, which
Mhm.
I think is great.
Right.
So I had this woman in group, and then we actually had a man who was a Spanish speaker, Latino man, who was also in the group. And it just like, you just felt more comfortable. I just felt like, wow, they're experiencing the same things that I'm experiencing. As opposed to sometimes, when you're in a group with people that can't relate to your ethnicity or to your culture, it makes it kind of isolating.
They
And
dismiss it.
right.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like hearing other people talk about the same kind of experiences, putting things into perspective. It's a lot of perspective for
Oh, it's
me.
all perspective, Nicole. Everything's perspective, really. But when it comes
Uh,
to like death and grieving, Perspective really saves you
Perspective,
sometimes.
it really does. And that was like the light switch for me, was like, what would my abuelita say if she knew
Mhm.
that I was this depressed?
Yeah.
Because the whole time she was sick, she had no idea that I was like depressed, you know, having suicidal ideation, drinking myself silly at night. You know what I mean? She had no
Yeah.
idea. In front of her, I was like this
Like I said earlier, that switch. When your
the
family's
switch.
like,
Yeah,
you're not the real you. The censored
right.
version of yourself, huh? Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
But then coming to the realization that it's like, I need to live my life. Life is a gift. I'm here for a reason. And my grandmother would want that from me. And why
Right.
don't I want that for myself? Ultimately, it's what do you want for yourself? And
Mhm.
and, and
Mhm.
it's not easy, as someone who's battled depression for many years. I think that was the light switch for me, was like, what can I do in this life? And how can I better myself, but also help others and contribute in some sort of way?
Yeah. You like, yo, these are the type of conversations that we're gonna be having on here, man. But before we get, cause I'm gonna, I don't want to get into my stuff yet. But before we get into it, can we lighten the mood a little bit?
Yeah.
Play some music. Get the vibes. Remember that song I was telling you about? I
Oh,
founded
yeah.
it.
Oh, you did?
I founded it. I love this song. It gets you feeling good. The anthem right here. Fantasia. When the beat drops though, woo! Yes, sir. Sorry, no lo siento. CHRISXMATT Healing with Nicole. Settle in. We like 30 minutes in, but it's all good. Let this rock. Let this rock. Hey, 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 hey. Y voy creciendo y creciendo con las nubes en el cielo. Así es el amor.
We need to make a playlist for our.
I know. I love this song. It makes me feel so good every time I hear it. My dad used to love it. My mom loves it. This is why like, yo, growing up, Hispanic, Latin, whatever, you gotta sometimes carry the music that your folks played around you.
Yes.
My mom wasn't hip hop. I that was I that was my own rabbit hole, right?
Mhm.
I did my own I went down the hip hop rabbit hole myself. My mom wasn't listening to like Lil Wayne. My mom wasn't listening to Biggie Smalls. She wasn't listening to Hove. She wasn't listening to none of that stuff. She was just popping Espanol, or rocking Espanol, or was just like I remember when she used to going to school every day. We were listening to La Regadera. That was the morning show that we were listening to.
Mhm.
I have all these memories and I have all these songs like the Borracho y Loco song, the Paulina Rubio CD my mom used to
Oh
bump,
my gosh.
like there's a lot of heat that my mom used to bump and like I take that. My dad was more of the English person, but he would listen to more like the Police or like old school hip hop.
Okay.
He wasn't he wasn't really like a big hip hop fan, but like he did know like the mainstream hits. He would listen to more English music, but the Police, Police was his favorite band.
Yeah.
Like a do, a da, Roxanne. That was
Roxanne.
my dad's stuff. I remember my dad used to love the Shaggy. It wasn't me, saw me banging on the sofa. I didn't even have it. Man, all repeat on my dad, yo. I have so many great memories with my dad, and we'll just get into it, 'cause I can get deep, but my dad was a jokester. My dad loved
Mhm.
life. He celebrated life. I think everyone that does have a memory with my dad is some jokester stuff. He was always him just clowning, being sarcastic, saying something funny, trying to get under your skin. That was my dad. And if I really just let his death affect me to the point where I'm just a dark, negative person every single day, not only would he not want that, that wasn't him. And I'm trying to honor my dad's life, his legacy. I want to honor him. And in order to do that, I have to celebrate his life. And I'm gonna celebrate it every day that I'm here, that I'm breathing. Everything that I do now is for him. And it sounds so cliche, you know, and it sucks that, you know, that the death kind of put this battery in me.
Mhm.
You know, it does suck. And I don't even like saying things like, you know, there's a reason why my dad passed, or there's a reason that there's a lesson to be learned here. Even though there is a lesson to be learned here, like there's a lesson to be learned in everything, but no reason justifies my dad's death. I don't care
Mhm.
how great of a reason it is or what perspective. I don't care. It don't justify it. It don't justify it, but it is reality, and life isn't fair, and life's gonna smack you in the face sometimes. And boy, did it smack me in the face this time. I always excluded myself from like, and when people talk about death and losing someone close, I can never relate. Never was able to
Mhm.
relate. If people hear my like conspiracy pods or my prior pods, people always, they hear how much I always talk about how I don't know struggle. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I never had to struggle in life. I will always ask and receive. And now it's like, it sucks, but dad not being here no more changes a lot of things, and it's either crumble and let it beat you and just, you know, be depressed, I guess, sad, or, and like, I don't like I hope people don't take it like toxic masculinity or anything like that, but it's either it's man up, dog, man up. And people don't like saying. I think we live in this time in this society nowadays where people want you to be sad, they want you to be depressed, they want you to be soft, and it's okay to feel. I'm not saying don't cry. I'm not saying don't do none of that, but
Right.
like how
And
you were
not to
talking,
be defeated, I think is what.
it don't want to defeat you. Like
Right.
that, you were just expressing how you were in bed all day, not doing nothing, doing it. I felt like, yeah, I wasn't in bed all day, but I was definitely smoking lots of weed, more than I usually do. And I was watching a lot of TV as well, but I wasn't in my bed. I was just in the living room. Not that there's a difference, but I realized that so quick. And I said, there's, nah, like, this is only going to push me back even more. If
Mhm.
you like, man, it could have been I could have let this whole year pass by, and people, the thing, you know, it's funny too. Like I could have taken this whole year off, and that would have been enough to justify my absence for the whole year, and people would be like, you know what, like, it's needed, bro. You needed that time, bruh. Nah, I gotta keep building. I had plans for 2022, and just because an unfortunate event happened at the beginning of the year doesn't mean that I have, like, you can't stop living. You can't stop going towards your goals and your dreams, bro. And my dad loved my pod. My dad loved listening to my pod, and he would
Mhm.
listen every week, and he would tell me like the certain guests, and yeah, I'm gonna keep podding. My mom, every morning, she sends me like motivational stuff that she finds on Instagram that's like about like your team, building a team, you know, changing your circle of friends, or keep trying. And my family believes it. This studio was only possible because of my brother. Like, my fam really, like, they know that I have something special, and they know that I really love this and I'm passionate about it. So I can't just be depressed and laying down and crying and moping about my dad, even though it hurts me every day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about my dad.
Right.
There's not a day that goes by where he's not in my mind. Yo, sometimes, you know, on the iPhone, when you slide to a certain the other way, it has the random pictures,
Oh my gosh,
and suddenly he
that.
pops up on there certain days where I'm not even expecting to see his face, and then he just
Mhm.
pops up. And yeah, you gotta cry, a 2-minute cry, bro. 2-minute cry, keep it pushing. You can't let that 2-minute cry turn to a week, a month. And if you let it turn to that, that's cool. I'm not here to say stop being a little girl, stop being a little baby. Nah, I don't want to be a little baby. I don't want to be a little girl about it. And maybe using those words maybe isn't the best way, because we are in this sensitive world nowadays. But nah, like, moms needs help. Me being
Mhm.
depressed and being sad and not do what, that's putting her more in a hole, giving her more stress. So then, man, like, my dad's death has really just has elevated my mind so much, and is really, I feel like it's kind of subconsciously like telling me to hurry up.
I feel like it's catapulted you
Right.
into like into your manhood, I think is what it's done.
I feel it. I feel the passing of a torch.
That I feel, and I think also maybe on a cultural level, we're always like, ahora tú eres el hombre de la casa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's that. Like, because now your father is not present, you feel this responsibility.
Right.
But I think also something that I admire about you is that you have been so, like, behind the scenes when we've talked, you're like so vulnerable. You're so honest about your feelings. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't like that I'm feeling this, but I'm feeling it and I'm letting you know. You're getting it out, you know? And I think that a lot of people stay stagnant because they don't let it out. They're not comfortable talking to someone. They don't. So it just builds and
Right.
builds and it creates like, you know, it's just building inside of them and creating sickness and sadness and worry. And you've been very
And I think
forthcoming.
it's because you give me a safe space. And like, so on this pod, like I'm also very vulnerable on my pod, but this thought just came to my head right now. Is because I'm creating the safe space. Like I said earlier, this is my safe space, so I feel like I can, like the same way I talk to you behind the scenes and I tell you certain things, I could do that on this pod because this is my safe space. Once it goes out to the world, I can't control that. You know, it's not my house anymore. Really, I'm letting guests into the house. So by that, it's like, okay, if there's a party in here, you know, it's going crazy. It is what it is. But I'm vulnerable and it's my party, and I'm gonna say what I want to say at my party. So, and that's true. A lot of people can't be vulnerable, and I don't understand why. And I think that's why I love potting. I've noticed that if I create a safe space, I'm very talkative. When I'm kind of like, I don't know these people, I don't know this environment, I'm more to myself. I joke around here and there, but I don't let them know this is who CHRISXMATT. This is Chris. This is me. But when I'm with Sammy, when I'm with the good brothers, when I speak to you, like I'm a safe around you guys. I know you guys love me. You guys are my homies, so I can be myself around you guys. I can express myself how I want to. So, but it's just a thought that triggered when you said a safe space. But I realized, that's probably why I'm so vulnerable on here, and I just speak my mind on here because it's my safe space.
And unfortunately, not everyone has that opportunity or that.
But some people don't want to. Some people are given a safe space, but they're still stuck in their ways, or they're still very like, I don't want to share. They don't want to cry. They don't want to be vulnerable, and I don't know. I never understood that, and I've never been a crier, but if I have to cry, I'm gonna cry. I've never been like, I'm not gonna cry. Actually, last week, I'm just gonna share this, you know, again, safe space. But last week after we were done speaking, me and Sammy, we stayed and we were chopping it up, and I cried in front of. I was crying in front, and I haven't cried like that in front of a friend at all. Like I haven't cried like that with the good brothers, with my close friends. Like my mom and my sister are probably the only ones that have seen me like that. And I was talking to her about my dad, and I just couldn't hold it. I wasn't trying to cry. Like I was really trying to hold it back because I was like, I'm not gonna just start. Because I understand when you start crying in front of someone too, they get uncomfortable. And I saw how he got. Like it wasn't like the most uncomfortable. He was like wiping stuff down that didn't need to be wiped down. He was playing with the rag. He was playing with the bong. He was just moving things around. And he's just talking to me because I started crying. You know, I paused for like a while, I didn't say anything for a cool like 5 minutes, and he's just talking, like just comforting me with certain words. And again, like someone that he went through his loss too with his brother. So we were just sharing our experience, like how he felt, what he was going through, and it's a lot. Like he found out he was gonna be a parent the same day his brother died.
And it just goes to show you the layers associated with death, and just how death doesn't happen in one way.
Yeah.
You know, some people die in an instant. Some people, they're dying.
Yeah.
They're in the process of dying, you know? And some people, it happens in a matter of hours, in a matter of minutes. You know, you wake up. Oh, some people go to sleep and never wake up.
Yeah.
Like there's so many facets to death, and that how it happens, and then how we, the ones who are still living, have to process it.
Yeah.
Because we all process and grieve differently.
Man, that's so true. Everyone's grieving process is different, and everyone. going through what I'm going through, like going through my loss and just, just forming my perspective and my just everything that calculating everything that happened, it kind of made me realize that like my damn first one of the pod. Lost my train of thought. And I've been doing good. I didn't even hit the weed before we started either, man. I'm doing good. I haven't cussed though. I haven't cussed.
Good job.
That's good. That's good. What was I gonna say? I lost my. What were you saying?
Just how we all grieve different, the process of death and how we all grieve differently and
Okay.
everyone has their own process, like,
Yeah.
and there's layers to it and steps, there's denial, there's anger, there's frustration, there's sadness, there's, all the thing missing. For me, it's like the missing of I mean, I'll give you props because I feel like you are making so much progress and everyone's progress is different. But I think for me, it took a really long time for me to let go. It wasn't until I started podcasting that I really after recording the episode, I was like, wow, I feel really good. Like, I think I can move on with my life. But
Wow.
I sat for, because she was dying for so long.
Right. Yeah.
And then
So,
now she's gone. It's
yeah, that makes more sense though.
mhm.
Yours, like, I can see that being different because like your sadness and depression started when she was just sick. When you kind of like, okay, she might be gone soon, but that soon may be like you don't know if it's a year or 2 years, and so you you prep yourself and you're kind of sad throughout the whole process. Me, I didn't think I didn't have enough time before to be sad, or like even after I could have been depressed and sad and just been like sobbing and crying and not doing anything and being a little chillon, but
I think for you in your situation, time was just this strange concept because it was like you were trying to catch up, you were trying to see if there was time. Time
yeah,
wasn't on your side. It was like then you were just there at the right time.
yeah.
It was like this weird for you and time. It was a very it was a journey within itself, the whole concept of time with your father.
The month of January felt like a whole year.
It really did.
It was the longest month I've ever experienced, ever. January 11th specifically, though, was the most emotional day I've ever lived in my 28 years of existence on this realm. It was the lowest I've ever felt. The most angry, confused, sad. Like it was crazy. I've never felt that low before. And then the next 3 days after that, just trying to grasp the reality that your pops ain't here no more. Your papa's not here no more, bro. Your papa's not here. And I saw those first few days. I saw how ugly I could become. How I can really let this consume me and be like, F the world, F everybody. I don't care. Don't talk to me. I hate you. Like, I can see how I can become that person. And I got scared. I got so scared because I'm like, this is not me. But I understand how a death can make you evil. I understand how you can blame the whole world for something that you had no control over, dog. Like,
Yeah.
that's up to the universe, God, whoever you want to give it up to. Like, that's up to them to decide that. And we can't be selfish as human beings. And death has really showed me, and during this grieving process, it's really showed me how, like, we're so materialistic that we even care about a physical body so much that we can't just accept the fact that energy lives forever and that my dad is a
Right.
piece of me and that he's gonna be with me everywhere I go and his energy is always gonna live on forever. I have his memories. Like,
Mhm.
I can see him by close my eyes. Like, I don't need you physically here, but because we're human beings and we're entitled, I need you physically here, holding me and being here and comforting me and so providing for me and all this stuff. And it's showing me like, yeah, that's not, if you have that, of course, you're having someone physically there to do, of course. But when you start saying why him, he didn't deserve it. Yo, honestly, no
Right.
one deserves death. To keep it a buck, that's not for me to decide.
Right.
So I don't like. It's just, man. I didn't want to become a dark person. I didn't want to become angry and evil. Was I sad? Am I sad? Just because I'm not crying every day, all day, don't mean that I'm not feeling something. And people get that misconstrued sometimes too.
Right.
And sometimes it makes
still feel it for sure.
And sometimes it makes you feel guilty because you're like, you kind of question like, damn, I'm not crying enough. Like, do I really care? Like, am I really sad? Like, these people think I'm not really sad about my dad's death. And but me being me is like, man, I don't care what people think of. Like, I know what I feel. I know you can't tell me what I feel, but people assume because you're not crying that you're strong. And it's like, okay, if I was crying too, if I'm not the strong one, who's gonna be the strong one? If we all weak and crying, like, we're so vulnerable if you like that. Yeah, all the vultures come in when everyone's just down and about, and I can't do that. My dad, nah, like my dad was never like, yo, if anything ever happens to me, like, take care of your mom. My dad was never that dad either. Like, that was just always that was always trying to prep us for like if something happened to him or take care of your mom, blah blah blah. But I know, like, come on, like, it's not expected from me, but like you said, in our culture, every culture is different. Every culture processes death differently. Our culture, we really cherish them. We make ofrendas and altars, and we put them up and we worship them on Dia de los Muertos. So every culture embraces death differently. But with on our situation, it was just a lot. Like you said, it was a lot that happened so quickly, and I was trying to catch up. And it's only been 2 months? We're going on 3 months already, and time just flies by. But to keep it real, now I give all this up to get my dad back.
Oh yeah,
all the material, all his houses, everything,
all of it,
whole estate, take everything back, man. Give me my dad back. But crying is not gonna bring him back. Moping around is not gonna bring him back. And like I said, like I know my dad. Like my dad wouldn't want to see us like this. My dad was always very like, be happy, do what you want to do. So that's what I'm gonna do for you, Dad. Like, and we're gonna keep doing it for you. Like I have his name. My birthday's the day after his. Like, I embody my dad. Like, I am Chris Esparza. Like,
yeah.
So it was just a lot. It was a lot. These first 3. It's still a lot. It's still a lot. Mom's still going through it. Private, like, you know, behind the scenes, she's still going through it. I know she is. And you can't. You know, she's been with him since she was 14 years old when she got with him. That's all she knows.
It's a different type of loss for her.
For sure. It's a completely different loss for her that I can't tell her nothing. When I hear her cry, I can't tell her nothing. I can't say, Mom, like, when you're with someone for that long, you like I said, I don't know how much grieving you need, because I hate that. I hate the whole, like, even when I went back to work, or are you sure you don't need more time? Like, I don't know how much time I need, dog. To keep it a buck, I need a lot. You think my dad's only worth of me grieving 1 month? Like, but even saying like that, right? Even saying a sentence like that sounds so ugly. Like, you think my dad's only worth a year worth of grieving? That sounds so ugly. I don't know how much time I need, but no
one knows.
No one knows. And I had a close relationship with my dad, like an amazing bond with my dad. I lost my role model, my influencer. That was who I mirrored my image of as far as becoming a man. Like, how, like, he never had to tell me how to take care of a family. He showed me how to take care of a family. He showed me, like, sacrifices, bruh. I saw my dad going to college to get his degree while I was 7, 8. I wouldn't see him all day. You know, at that age, you're used to, like, playing. You know, you used to go and doing things with your dad, but you don't understand all dad's doing schoolwork. You know, you don't understand all dad's doing this to provide a better lifestyle for us. And to constantly see my dad just elevate his whole life, his whole career, just constantly elevating, all for us, for his kids. We all 20 plus. And it was still, his message was always still, no, it's for my kids. Like, everything for my kids, it was always about, and then even the older we're getting, it was like, yo, for my grandkids, you know, this is for them. And he was trying to set us all up with our own house. And he accomplished a lot in the short amount of time that he was here. My dad was only 53 years young when he died. Very young, very young. And I have to provide a better lifestyle for us. the same way he was continuing to better our lifestyle, I don't have to, but I want to do that.
You want to keep that going
Yes.
for your family.
My
that
mom,
legacy, the legacy that your father created.
Yes.
You want that to continue.
Yes, 100%. And my mom deserves. I need to provide a better lifestyle for my mom than my dad did, and that's not gonna be easy. That's not gonna be easy at all, But it's possible, and with hard work and dedication, you can get there. Whether it be 10 years, whatever, you can get there. And I need to do that. That's something that I definitely have told myself, and I'm putting on myself, and I'm taking that responsibility.
That's something that you want to fulfill.
I have to fulfill. Yeah, I have to. Yeah, and I have to, but yeah, I want to. Even for my whole family. We need to be on a yacht in Miami. I don't care. Like, there's so much things that I still want to do, like nice things that I want to do. That even my dad with the great job that he had, and the amazing career he had, that type of stuff still wasn't possible. So I need to take it to the next level. My dad took it to the next level from where he came from. Out of his three brothers, only one with the college degree. Had a prestige degree. He was an engineer, a civil engineer. So my dad, I remember when my dad went to Atlanta. He was like a little kid because he was working on the Falcon Stadium, the new stadium that I think they opened it up 2 years ago or something like that, 3 years ago. And we were in Atlanta, and my dad was always the type that he would go to his job sites, or not like where he would work at, but the places they were doing his calculations at. And he would just like admire like the panels and like, oh yeah, we did this, and he'd brag about it. So I mean that we had gone to Atlanta, he was like, he was just standing across the street like, yeah, we worked on all that. They were building the stadium, and to me it's like, in my head at the time, I remember I was there next to him. I was like, Dad, relax, like trying to be cocky, but like looking like right now and looking back, like he was just proud of his work.
His accomplishments.
It was not easy. It took him 8 times to pass his PE license, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you get your license, so you can start doing blueprints for people, like like family members and all that type of stuff. He started doing that. It took him 8 years to do that. I remember that test was like a cool $3,000-$4,000 every time. If you failed it, you had to pay $3,000-$4,000. He took it 8 times until he finally passed it. I remember just seeing all that. So like I seen the hard work. I seen what he's had to do. I seen him move to South Carolina, left us here for a little bit because he was like, yo, I'm gonna move over there for like a year. Let me get a house. And then my mom went up, did the same thing when he went to Florida. So my dad, like, it was just seeing it all happen and being so happy for him, and just seeing him like finally feel like he was valued in the workplace, because he didn't feel valued down here in California. As soon as he left the States, he found the door just opened wide open, and
he felt more valuable
and
with his employer. Do you think that your dad, you said that he showed you how to be a man. He showed you though that I feel like it wasn't like everything was like butterflies and unicorns and everything was perfect. Like he showed you that he went through these trials and tribulations, but still continued. He didn't stop. Like he was still motivated and he ended up succeeding. Like, do you think that just kind of, for you, with everything, with his death, I personally feel like it's catapulted you. Do you feel like that has motivated you to try new projects and, the trials and the errors and looking at life differently?
Yeah, I've been looking at life completely different. I ain't gonna lie. My mind has elevated so much in these like 2-3 months. I look at, like, even when it comes to like confronting certain people, I just don't want to argue no more. I don't want to say too much anymore. Like, the people around me that know where I'm at with it, they know where I'm at with it. If I have to, I'm at the point where I have to keep telling you how I feel about something. If I have to keep expressing about how serious about something, how something is to me, and you keep telling me yeah, and then you don't come through, and then the old me, well, the real me really wants to like just snap, but that doesn't get me anywhere. Me just giving you a fiery ass text at 2 a.m. right before I go to work because I'm feeling away right now because I woke up and read your text. That's not gonna change anything either. So I'm learning to since my dad has passed, I've learned to just accept people more for just who they are.
Mhm.
It taught me to not believe people's word, especially like family. We'll get into this right now too, because I want to talk about the family and friends during death. But yeah, after my dad, my mind just elevated so much, and I feel more calm.
Mhm.
I don't get aggravated as much as there's certain things that still get me mad, but obviously, I think the only things that do get me mad now is things that come to the pod. So whether it be like a cover art situation or like a
Things like
promo
that.
stuff, intro, all that stuff. That's what gets me hot. Finding the engineer and all that. That's one of the things that kind of get me aggravated. But even then, like now I'm learning to just like, okay, it is what it is. Complaining isn't gonna fix the problem, so go find someone else. So I'm learning to also just solve a lot more problems before just giving up and getting mad and be like, whatever, I'm over it.
Like being less reactive, more
Way
proactive.
less reactive. Even earlier when I was frustrated about when we were trying to get the audio right, I was getting frustrated already, but I had to kind of like relax, like chill, figure it out. But I was kind of like, what the last week it worked and right now like how's it not working? And yeah. So I've been definitely being less reactive to things for sure. Been more considerate of people's feelings, even though I don't care. Like even though I don't agree with how they feel, or I don't care. But it's like that's how you feel. That's how you feel. That's cool. Keep it over
So
there.
being more considerate, maybe more understanding, not necessarily agreeing per se with.
I've become super understanding to the point where like people tell me stuff and it's just like, nah, I mean I get how you feel like that, but I'm to the point where I don't want to convince anybody no more, Nicole. I don't care. I don't care. That's how if that's how you think, that's cool.
Mhm.
You have every right to think the way you think. I do not care because I also realize that none of us are right. None of us are right. None of us are right. We don't know, and we actually have to start realizing that we're actually dumber than we think we are. I'm not. Let me clarify that because human beings we're smart. We're smart individuals, stuff like that, but we don't even know where we really come from. We don't know what happens after we die. There's a lot of stuff that we don't really know about it. So are we really as smart and intelligent as we say we are? Probably not. But I'm learning to just be like,
You're learning. I think that you're learning to just live in the moment.
I like that.
And not worry. I think that as human beings, because I know I used to do it a lot. My anxiety level used to be like 1,000 every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But what is anxiety? Anxiety is worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet that's creating an emotional response in your body. And now I just wake up and I'm like, okay, I woke up.
Right.
I take it step by step. And I feel like you and I have kind of both grown because I feel like with your dad passing and us talking behind the scenes and just like I've seen you grow as an individual and I see like, wow, Chris is like, I don't think you give yourself enough credit of how mature you are and how as a man in 2022 like you're processing emotions at your age. But like I'm just like everything, I just feel like it's like living. Focus on right now. This is it. We're potting right now. I'm not thinking about anything else,
Yeah, no,
Like,
yeah, I like that because I do feel like I've been living in the moment a lot. I really do. And my dad's death showed me that it's so cliche, but life is short. And I used to always hear that phrase, but like I've always said as well, you don't care about stuff until it directly affects you. And that's why with the whole conspiracy stuff, I was just over it because until it really hits you, it don't matter. It don't matter what none of these things mean. None of that. So, damn.
It's just like with the conspiracies, it's like, yeah, you could look into it, but at the end of the day, ultimately, how are you living your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just living in I'm just really trying to just live in the moment and accept it because the way my dad left so quick, it was just like, yo, within a week, it all happened. Like,
Fast.
What that fast? Like, I was just with you 2 months ago. You were healthy as can be. I was just with you turning up at the strip club. You know, like I was just with you in Miami. Like we were celebrating our birthdays, and it's so crazy. So I definitely have been learning to just live in the moment a lot more and just accepting things for what it is, not getting mad, and
Keep it moving.
keep it moving. I mean, it's so cliche, and it's funny because we can get so deep about certain things, but it all just simplifies to just like life happens, and you gotta just keep living, and you can't just give up. Because if you give up, then that's not the point. You're still playing the game, bro. You're still here in the game. You're still here. My dad isn't, which is it sucks. It does. It sucks. But it's the reality of the game. Like he's not gonna come back no matter how much I cry, no matter how much I pray, no matter how much magic I do, no matter how many rituals I do or whatever I try to do. It's not gonna bring him back. I can talk to him right now if I want. I'm talking to him right now. If I can talk to him whenever I want to. I don't need to call him. I don't need to, see him to express how I feel. But it does suck because the hardest thing about death is getting used to someone not being here. Yeah. That's the hardest thing about death. Getting used to someone not being here, not having access to them, not being able to call them, hear their voice. Like that's the hardest part, just the missing them. And I talked to my mom, and she says like every day passes by, and the more every day passes, the more I miss them every day. And when she tells me things like that, it's like in my head I'm like, well, damn, are you ever gonna get like better? But I don't like saying that either because I know she's never gonna be fully herself again.
Because that was her life partner.
It's a piece of her as well.
Yeah.
So I get it, and it's like, but when she says stuff like that, it scares me because man, like he's not gonna come back, mom. So like, what 10 years down the line? Like I know it's just probably just a phrase, I know she's just saying that, phase. But yeah, but it's just like obviously being her son, wanting her to be. I wish I could take all the pain away. I wish I could take all the sadness away. I wish I can transmute it and me deal with it and figure it out. But it just sucks for her, and I feel for her. I that's what hurts me the most, honestly, after all this happened.
How has your family dynamic changed within your family unit and extended family?
Extended family, my mom's side got closer to us. They got closer to us. They showed up. Like I was surprised how my mom's siblings showed up. Compared to my dad's, siblings. And no, my cousins listen to this. If family listens to this, it is what it is. But immediate family, as far as my siblings, my mom, we have gotten way more closer. Mm-hmm. It was just hard on all of us. So we kind of all we're all kind of similar as far as we don't like attention, we don't like the sympathy, we don't like all that type of. So we kind of just keep a close knit and just keep it to ourselves.
Right.
We talk. We all have our friends and the people we actually just talk to, but to talk like the only thing that happened with my immediate family was that my grandma was part of my immediate family, and that changed. She's no longer with us. I want to segue to this real quick because I brought my grandma, but for those who don't know, it was my mom, my dad, and my grandma that ended up in the hospital. If you listen to Conspiracy, I did speak on that, like the last 2 episodes. I think I had mentioned that they were in the hospital. At that time, I still was very optimistic. I was like, okay, they'll be cool. I knew a lot of people that were going to the hospital for the Rona, and they were coming back, and it was solid, whatever. They all went in the hospital. Both my parents and my grandma. And to be honest, if I would have lost both of my parents, Nicole, I don't even know what we're going on right now. To be honest, I don't know where I'll be at. I can't say I'll be in a dark place. I can't say I don't know. I don't know.
That's a whole nother...
we wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be potting right now for sure. I would have to figure out
a lot of things,
everything, all that stuff. And my mom was telling me like, yo, because right now she's dealing with all the estate stuff and the trust stuff and the 401ks and the life insurance. She's dealing with all that. So she was telling me like, yo, if you know, if me and your dad would have both died, like you guys would have probably they would have probably, the bank would have probably came in and stooped in a lot, would have taken a lot of the things, because like we don't have our will set up to where you guys would have got this or you got that. You guys wouldn't even know you wouldn't even know where to start. She would tell me you wouldn't know what to do.
And that's not even like taught to you in school.
Exactly,
Like nobody
yeah.
has that conversation. Nothing.
So she was telling me that, I'm like, damn. And why did I bring that up? Oh, it's happening so much now.
No, you were just sharing how like the dynamic changed now. You know, they
Oh,
were
my
all in the
grandma.
hospital together. Your
Right.
grandmother lived with them.
Right. So now she's living with her other son. That, I mean, I'm not saying he's a stranger to her. Like she's close. She knows she talks to our 3 of her kids, you know, very much. But she's not used to living with any of them besides my dad and us. You know, her whole life she's been with us. You know, she's lived with us. So her moving all that we kind of distanced. She's kind of distanced herself away from us a little bit. Obviously my they're in South Carolina. They don't really. She stayed here in California, so they don't really communicating like that. She'll call her once in a while, but my mom doesn't want to like just butt into how they're handling stuff with her, because my grandma might say some things and my mom be like, you know, she feels sorry for her sometimes, and she wants to just. She was telling me sometimes I just want to like when I go back over there, I might bring her back with me, but then I start thinking, nah, it's not I should just not butt in. I'm like, yeah, mom, don't do it to yourself. But
Right. She means well. I think your mother means well, but it's also, but that, you know, it's like a cultural thing where it's like you feel like you want to help or take care of the elders, but in actuality, it is her children's responsibility to figure that out.
Man, yo, I don't even know if I should share. I don't know if I should share this because it happened today, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. So my uncle lives next door, right? And my dad's brother. And I was outside today. I want to grab the mail. I was coming back up, and he was in the driveway too, smoking a cigarette. And he goes, he's like, oh, he says hi to me. I start talking to him, and out of nowhere, like when I start talking to my uncles and stuff like that, I never like asked like what's the scoop, you know. I never asked, yo, so how my I don't try to like act like I'm trying to get the 411
the chisme.
The chisme. There you go, the chisme from them. Yes, the chisme. But he ends up telling me, oh, your uncle so and like, well, the other brother, only 3 of them. So like the other brother, the one my grandma's with, she goes, oh, your uncle, you know, he's an asshole. And they haven't gotten along, you know, for a while already. For many years they haven't gotten along. But he's telling me all this stuff. He goes, and he's like, yeah, he's an asshole. I went over there to get your grandma, to pick up your grandma, to take her to Arizona, and that you know, I waited 3 hours and they didn't show up and they weren't there, da, da, da. And I'm just listening, and then he started saying things like, yeah, you know, he's an asshole. I just I don't talk to him. Like, I don't want to deal with him. And I'm just like, well, I mean, you don't have to deal with him, but yeah, you need to talk about your mom with him. And I told him, I'm like, yo, like, it's your mom. Like, I know you don't like him, you don't talk to him, but you don't have to be buddies with him. But when you guys need to talk when it comes to your mom, because my other uncle, my uncle next door makes his wife communicate with my uncle, with his brother, because he don't like him. But my other uncle, he doesn't like my aunt, but he don't like communicating through her. He wants to talk to his brother directly, but because he's being a little, you know, whatever, however he feels about it, the situation, he doesn't want to directly talk to him. So I told my uncle, I was like, to be honest, like my tia, she don't gotta be dealing with that either. Like she don't gotta be the middleman. It's not her mom. I'm like, it's your guys' mom. And in my head, I'm just thinking like, I'm telling myself, bro, just tell me I don't care about my mom. Just tell me that. Just say you don't care about your mom, because everything you're saying is like, bruh, you don't have to like your brother. That's the least of it. But when it comes to your mom, you have to talk to him about it, bro. Like, oh, I'm gonna bring her up. If you guys are not gonna communicate, you should only communicate for that reason. And then my you know, we start talking about my grandma, and he's like, yeah, well, you know, your grandma's like, she's like worse than a kid sometimes, and she always wants this and wants that. And I'm hearing him talking. I'm like, my parents dealt with that their whole lives, Theo. I'm like, you guys never reached out to them and said anything, and said how my mom, how this. And like I would just say little things, where I knew he didn't like what I was saying, because he thought I was gonna side with him. Because I don't like the other uncle. The uncle he don't like. I don't like him either. I have my own personal thing with him, that, you know, I haven't talked to him. But that's besides the point. Like, it's your mom's, bro. Like,
Is it a little disappointing or maybe a lot disappointing that
it's a lot disappointing because
that death, it is their brother that passed, and sometimes you think, or maybe it's an assumption. Maybe I'm making an assumption because I've made the assumption with my family too, where I was like, oh, this death is going to bring us closer together. But I think that when it comes to like my brother, my mom, my dad, we got closer.
Mhm.
But then with everybody else, it was like I had to create boundaries and be like, okay, we're not gonna I
Yeah.
had conversations with people because of my abuelita. I will look beyond how I feel about you, how you get on my damn nerves, blah blah blah. But I will be an adult and communicate for that reason. Now that she's no longer present on this physical plane, I just don't have any
Right.
there's no point, but I could see where it's frustrating for you because it's like your grandmother's still alive.
Yes.
She's still alive. So why are we taking advantage of the fact that she's alive? Take the
Yes.
lesson from your brother's death,
Yes.
your father's death. Like, why is nobody seeing that? Because the one thing that drives me nuts is when it's like la lloradera, like at the
Yeah.
funeral and putting on this show.
Yes.
But when they were
Oh my gosh.
alive,
Oh my gosh.
you didn't care.
Oh my gosh. Like, my uncle next door,
That drives me nuts.
my uncle next door was very close to my dad, right? Like, they were out of the three brothers, they were the ones that were the closest. They always golfed and everything, close. So I understand that I know that it affected my cousins as well. My first cousins, they're my age. They grew up with my dad. He's like a dad to them. So I understand that it affected them as well. But why do you have to tell me and be like, yo, bro, I'm here for you. Anything you need, I got you. Like, my uncle saying, like, when he would tell my mom, like, oh, your kids are like my kids. But, bro, you have not checked in on any of us. And I'm not saying that I want the attention, the sympathy, but why say things like that? Why say, like, like, bro, if you were really like my dad and my pops, you would be checking in on me. I'm next door, and you don't even like, yo, how you holding up, bro? But like we were saying earlier, not sometimes, a lot of men they can't do that. They're not, it's not vulnerable.
Yeah.
They're like wimps about it. I remember when my dad had passed, and he had the first day I came back from South Carolina, and I was here. He came over next door. This is like just say condolences and everything. But as soon as he started crying, he had to turn around and he was done. He was done talking. And to me, it's like, bro, I get you're sad, but like, you can't just run from things when you're feeling away. And that's my uncle. He hates confrontations. He hates altercations. He'd rather just have my tia deal with everything. And he just, I'm cool. I'm cool. Like, I just want to golf, smoke my cigs, go to work. That's all I want. That's all I'm trying to do. So it is frustrating because, like, people just lying to you. People, just harvesting your loosh, I guess, in a way.
But do you feel like they're saying it because
it's Hallmark?
Right. You've been conditioned to say that.
Yes. There's certain programming during death that's going on. People are really, it's like they're automatically programmed to say, condolences, bro. Stay strong, bro. It's gonna get better, bro. Keep
here
pushing
for you.
through. I'm here for you. Keep living it up. Be there for your mom. Like, all these things. I remember at the funeral, all my tios and my tias are telling me all this stuff, and all I can think is like, this all y'all got? Y'all 50, 40, 50 plus, and y'all giving me this? This is what my little cousin should be telling me. And like what is how you been? How you been doing? How you holding up, bro? Like, that's so complex now. I don't know how I'm doing, dog.
That's a loaded question. Do you really want to know how I'm doing? Because that could be like, I think when you ask someone how they're doing, the person asking is expecting like, I'm okay, I'm fine.
Exactly.
But it's like, you want to know how? Do you want me to unload on how I'm really doing? Yeah.
Man. Yeah. That's how. Yeah.
But I think also this conversation that we're having right now is a good like entry point because, I told you like what I wished someone would have said to me because I got cliche or I got nothing at all,
Right. Yeah.
But then it's like, if in the event someone that goes through a death, you kind of like now feel like, okay, well, I'm not gonna say these cliche things because they're very cliche.
Right.
I'm either at that point you have to choose whether you want to say anything of substance or not at all. Because I think
Right.
sometimes people say stuff like they try to put dubs on a pinto, like, I'm here for you, I got your back. And then it's like, but you
Then you
just
then you
said that.
then you cash in that favor and they go ghost.
Right. And then it's like, okay, so you're basically just because there's also that's damaging as well. Because what if you were emotionally fragile and somebody was like, I have your back, I'm here for you at your beck and call. And then when you might need them and they're not there. It's like, don't say it. You know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like there has to be weight to your words. You can't just say it because it sounds nice. And I think
Right.
with death, people like to just
People like saying, I'll be there for you, hit me up if you need anything, because usually people don't reach back out to people.
no.
And that's the thing. But I had a friend that I gave him the whole scoop because he was really a homie. Like, I don't really consider my coworkers homies. He doesn't work with me anymore, but he was one of the few that like I would kick it with him. He would always hit me up like, yo, let's go do this, go do that.
Yeah.
So that was one that I would consider a friend. And so when he asked me like, oh, what's going on, what's happening, and I would tell him, he was like, yo, that's crazy, blah 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 blah. And like, so I actually gave him the 411. I gave him the cheese man. I told him I broke it all down to him, everything that happened while I'm out here, blah blah blah. And that's when I asked him for the favor. And he was like, yeah, I got you, bro. Don't even worry about it. But the fact that you don't even have the decency to tell me the day of, hey, bro, I got called into work. I can't do this after all. Like, my bad. Is it cool if I do it tomorrow, or you got someone else to do it? Nothing.
Mhm.
Nothing. He just ghosted me. And then my homie that's like waiting for him is like, yo, is he gonna come or not? And I'm like, oh, let me ask him. And then I had to really text him like, yo, are you gonna go or not? So I don't make this person wait. And then he finally was like, yeah, I got called into work. You couldn't tell me that in the beginning. You got
Common
called into work.
courtesy. Yeah, common courtesy.
And that's why I was like, I don't take like it rubbed me the wrong way. I was hot already because it was just like, bro, you I felt like you banked off my sadness low key. You got all the scoop and the info, and then you didn't even do the favor for me. Like, that was trash to me. I didn't like that.
And you know what, too? I think something else that came to mind with like cuando alguien se muere, when someone dies, it's like, ¿y cómo se murió? It's like people are
Yeah,
so obsessed with like the
yeah.
story, the chisme,
Mm-hmm.
like, ¿y cómo fue? And all this like into this like it's insensitive. Like
It's
we've
sensitive.
become completely insensitive. Like someone died in the news. I don't. It was like in a band. I'm horrible with these things, but first thing you see, how did they die? What caused their death? And it's like, what does it matter? They're now dead.
Yeah, we're
Like,
just
why can't you let people grieve?
we're just nosy individuals.
Like we've lost a little bit of humanity with like death and um,
And if it's like
like
not, and if it's not like publicized or posted, is it really a death?
right. And then it's just like, oh, like I just noticed that now. I'm more aware of that. Like people are like, "Well, what happened? Or how long? How was it? How did they die?" Like they're no longer alive. Like that's like what do you gain from that? You know?
Right. No, I feel that. I definitely feel that. But oh yeah, family was just. I, I just don't like the attention either from
Mhm.
family, from people. Like, I don't like people knowing that I may be sad or that I'm going through something, because then it
Right.
changes the way they treat you. Like, I remember when people were like, I remember when Dennis hit me up and he talked to me a certain way, and I was like, bro, talk to me regular. Like, don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like, I don't know. Like, don't get me sad if I'm not sad. Don't ask, like, because I wasn't even thinking about it, but now you're asking me, bro, how you holding up, and it's like,
It's I feel like it's just such an awkward topic. Like people don't know how to act. People don't know what to say. People they really don't. And it's not to make an excuse for people, but I think this is why we need to have these types of conversations. Cuz
yeah,
some people really don't know. They're not thinking. It's just very surface when
right.
there's more depth to it.
There's more depth to
There
depth.
is. There really is. Like
No, it's deep.
it's
Death
like,
is deep.
it's like just, for you, Like you still have to experience Father's Day, your birthday, Christmas, you
Oh,
know?
Nicole, yeah, man.
And it's like what, like people like I remember like the first Mother's Day, like because Mother's Day used to be like huge in our family because even if my brother was overseas, he would have the biggest flower arrangement delivered to her. It was always like, okay, what flower arrangement? Because she loved flowers. What flower arrangement? And then it was just like that first Mother's Day was just like, I don't want to do anything. I mean, I still sent a flower arrangement so that my grandpa could like, still sit with something,
Right.
but then it's just like, I was like, for the first, I mean, for me, my grandmother died 3 days before Christmas.
On the
So
22nd, huh? Wow.
so my first Christmas was literally like I didn't even spend it with my family.
Wow.
I spent it with my boyfriend's family, and I remember my boyfriend's mom saying, "How's your grandmother doing?" I was like, "Oh, she died 3 days ago." And she was just like, "What?" And I was like, my abuelita loved Christmas. She loved Niño Jesús, La Navidad, all of that. So it was like, I'm not going to be with all these depressed people in my family. So I might as well go with you guys and like fake the funk. And you know what? I literally sat there like I wanted to just cry just looking at their Christmas tree. It was hard. It was like really
Yeah.
hard. But then I was like, what would my abuelita say? She would want me to.
Right.
It's just like it's up and down. It's like you're 1 minute you're good and then something happens and then you just want to cry, or
Right.
you
And
laugh or
that's why grieving and death is like it's such a it's, like it is different for everyone, and I don't think you ever get over it. You don't get over it. Like even when it comes to the like grieving, like you said, like right now, am I over it? Like I'm not. Well, I am thinking about it because we're talking about it, but like on the day-to-day basis, I'm not always thinking about it, about my dad and like that. But Father's Day comes, it's gonna hit different. I've been
yeah.
here 28 years. I've had a dad my whole life. This is the first time I don't get to celebrate. I mean, I don't need that day to celebrate them, but when I started seeing everybody post their pictures with their dads and stuff like
Right.
that, like even though I never did that, I never was the one to
I
post
never
pictures like
did
that,
that.
but still,
Yeah.
like just seeing it and seeing people talk about their dad and them and just them still having them here physically, like I'm not saying like that's not fair, but yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna open the wound up again. The holidays come, his birthday comes, like my birthday, like, his birthday is my birthday eve, and it's like
Yeah.
Miami's not gonna be the same no more. Like that was his favorite place too, where we were always turning up. It was becoming a tradition the last 3 years. We had gone to Miami, and like that's was I'm not ready for that, to be honest. I hear certain songs sometimes and I just start crying. Um,
Mhm.
I hear certain things on shows. Anytime it's like a death is a topic or something in a show or whatever, it
You
hits. I
feel
don't
it.
I don't care if the it's not a dad that's dying. Any type of death, it hits. And when that person starts like doing a speech about him or something like on Euphoria the last season when Rue did the
Oh,
thing, like that hurt.
I
That hit. I
cried.
was crying. I was like, man, because like man, it hurts so much when you really love a person that passes. When you know him on a different level, like that's why I understand why it hurts my mom even more because she knew a side of him that nobody knew.
Mhm.
So she knows a whole different Chris, than I knew. I knew he was a dad and a friend to me, and with her it was a lover, a friend, vulnerable, everything she was with. So she knows
Husband, father
yeah,
of her children.
yeah.
All
So
yeah, for sure.
that's why it's so hard to. I don't know how much time I need. I don't know if I need a month, a year. I don't know. And to be real, I think I need the rest of my life.
And that's okay because you're still living.
Exactly. But the point is to circle back to the beginning is that you can't let it defeat you. You can't let this take you under the sun. You can't let this just be like, you can't just give up because someone that you really love is not here no more and you have no more access to them. And yes, your whole world and your whole life can change, and it's gonna change. Like when death happens, like change comes after death. You have to accept it, even though
It's
you don't want
inevitable.
to. Exactly, even though you You hate the change, even though you don't want to accept the change. It happened, so you gotta embrace it. You gotta adapt, and it is what it is. You can't be sad. Don't let it defeat you. I'm not saying don't cry. I'm not saying don't feel. I'm not saying no. You have every right to feel every emotion that you're feeling. But again, we live in this baby society where people just let their issues beat them. And I'm not trying to compare my issues to someone else's issues
Right.
or the severity of it or the mine is way worse than your issues and I'm over here. I'm not doing that either, but it's showing me, wow, we have a lot of weak minds out here. There's a lot of weak people out here that
And
they just
maybe it's also they just don't have, I think
support.
they don't have the support. They don't have the safe space. They don't
Mm,
have the outlet.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you have potting as an outlet.
yeah.
Some people it's like I think death can do so much too because it can catapult you into your art. Like there's people who draw that paint because of something sad
Right, yeah.
and then there's some people that are still trying to find themselves. And so it's really challenging to try to move from something when you don't even know how to deal with yourself and now you're dealing with this external conflict.
And I think that's when people need to dive in more within themselves.
Mhm.
I think a lot of times, like, people rather just be sad, cry about it, instead of dealing with it eternally. And I understand is you have to let it out. I get that. I get that. But I think sometimes we just want to complain and whine.
It's
I think sometimes we want to be sad.
no, you can be 100%. You can be, and I was this person. I was like addicted to being sad. I was
That doesn't sound like fun
comfortable.
though.
It was like a comfortable place to be. That's the reality is that people don't want the change is so uncomfortable and scary that they'd rather stay in what they know, and what they
Which is
know
sadness.
is sadness.
That's wild you say that, Nicole, because I was listening to a pod today and they said the same. They were talking about a story about how some girl was trying to commit suicide because she had went through depression, had gotten out of it, and then she had suicidal thoughts because she was so like she was scared of getting out of the depression. I was like, what? So I'm hearing
Yeah.
it, and it's like, again, I'm not trying to get canceled on this show or nothing like that,
But
like
that's
why? But like it just, I heard that
it
and I was
doesn't
like,
make sense to you because you thankfully are a very strong-minded individual and in your particular situation when you were like in this beginning stage of grieving, I remember you telling me like I feel like I'm having the beginning symptoms of depression and I don't like it. Like you caught it right away. And some people just like nosedive right into it and they stay there, you know?
yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's a good point. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with I mean, you made a good point because I never went through that, so maybe I probably can't identify it. But
Right.
yeah, I did tell you in the beginning. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I'm depressed or not, or I don't know if I'm
Mhm.
feeling depressed or not. So I've never been depressed, but I noticed things that I was doing that I didn't normally do. Um, like smoking way more weed than I usually do. And many can argue, well, at least you're just smoking weed, bro. You could be drinking alcohol or doing drugs, blah blah blah. But still, like abusing weed ain't I'm masking just my feelings.
Right.
I'm trying to get so high and so slumped that I just fall asleep. Really, that's really what I'm trying to do.
You're
Like
trying to avoid the process.
I was ripping mad bong rips. I was just like four rips right away, just fat hits, coughing up a lung, just getting all todo mencito and grifo, and then laying down on the couch. And
It just yeah, for
I was
sure.
watching shows that I have already watched. I started watching Narcos again.
Just to watch
All
it
4 seasons, like for what? I just
because
finished it in November.
it's something comforting though, like you're seeking some sort of comfort from something that you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what it is. I was rolling like 3 to 4 blunts, and I would just smoke them. I would just sit outside and smoke them and do nothing. I would just
Yeah.
look at just you just wanna be
When I was smoke though, that's when I was smoke is when I started getting more in my thoughts.
in your thoughts, yeah.
That's when I started hearing myself loud and clear. I was like, "Oh, bro, like you're still like it still hurts." I remember the first day I came back home. I came back, I bought a one-way ticket to go over there, and when I decided to come back home, I thought I was good. I was like, "Okay, cool. I know it's only been 2 weeks, a week and a half that this happened, but I feel like I can go back home right now. Like it already happened. That he's gone. Like me being here is like I can't. It was the only nice part about just staying there was because having the comfort of my family, right? Having being there with
Mhm.
my mom, my siblings, the distractions. And
Right.
that's exactly what they were, distractions. Because as soon as I came home, running, doing errands around the house, cleaning stuff up, dealing with the dogs, my mom ends up calling me because she was talking to me about she was talking to me about some she was talking to me about the funeral arrangements.
Mhm.
I remember being on the phone with her, and I hear her I hear her talking to me on the phone about my dad's death, and I instantly just started crying. I'm like, "Yo, mom, hold on." She's like, "What?" And I was like, "We're really on the phone talking about dad's death," and I couldn't. It was the first conversation I had on the phone with my mom in 2022 because I was over there with them. So the first convo I had with my mom on the phone, it's about the bureau stuff for my dad. I don't know how to man. I never in a million years thought I'd be having that conversation with mom this soon in my life.
Mhm.
And this out of nowhere too. I felt like it happened. So it was crazy, and I don't know, and it's just it was a lot. That day
Yeah.
was a lot. That week was a lot. But I came back home thinking I was good, and nah, I started crying. I took the whole day just to be in my feelings. And then that's when I started smoking a lot. Started smoking a lot. Obviously, we had plans on doing this before that all that happened, so it kind of pushed things back a little bit because this was supposed to drop, I think, in February. We were supposed to drop 2020. I mean, 222, right? I
Yeah,
think
we
we were
were
supposed to
gonna
drop
drop it.
222,
Yeah, 222.
and so it is what it is, it
Life
happened.
happens.
Life happens, and it happened, and it flipped my world upside down. But it is what it is, and it showed me a lot. I learned a lot from it. I've been learning a lot from it. I'm seeing. It's just everything's new to me. I never been through this, so everything's just new. The phone calls I
Mhm.
finally stopped, died out. The food, the messages,
Yeah.
the how you been, how you doing, how you holding up have stopped, and it's crazy. It's crazy how like the funeral happens and everything just completely just
It's like the show's over.
dies out. Yeah, yeah. So it's wild. It's wild, but funerals are interesting because it's so crazy how a death can bring everyone together,
Yeah,
and it's wild how it has to be
because
death,
of a death.
right? And it's nice to feel the support. It's nice to have everybody there. It really is, but then you realize y'all really only here because my dad died. Like that's wild. Like I don't know. It just seems
There's so
it's funny, but
there's so much to it though.
like
I
you
think
said,
some
it's
people
so many layers.
yeah, there's so many layers. Some people are, maybe you didn't know them, maybe they worked with your dad. People are moved. You meet someone, they made an impact, you want to pay your respect.
Right. Yeah. Well, the more we do these pods, I'm sure, things that I forgot to say on this pod that they'll come up
They'll
throughout
come up
the
and we'll
conversations.
have segments where you can
Yes, we will have oh, yeah, I
bring it
forgot.
back.
Yeah, we'll have segments. And yeah, the topics are just gonna keep coming. I think we're gonna do entitlement next. I think I like entitlement
Yes,
next.
entitlement will be our next topic. And like we had discussed, we're going to definitely try to be interactive with our listeners and
Yeah.
get that
Just let us get our
rolling
feet wet,
out.
guys.
Yeah, we're just getting back in the game.
Yo, man. We're like halfway through the year. Happy New Year, guys. You know?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's. It wasn't planned this way, but again, you know, it is what it is. It happened, we here. And hopefully by the time people are listening to this, we have picked the day of the week to consistently drop.
Yeah.
And just grow with us, guys. This is the first episode, so if you see any little errors or whatever, hey, it is what it is. I'm learning new equipment. We got new stuff set up, so by the time we're episode like probably 5, 6, will probably be how I kind of want us to be as far as rhythm.
Yeah.
But we here. Sorry, no lo siento. I like that name. I don't know why.
I do too.
It sounds
like,
fire, huh?
It's like, I want to be so nice, like, sorry, no lo siento.
Exactly. That's just like the same energy in English when you're like, sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
But man, shout out to all my paisanos out there. Shout out to all my gente out there. La raza. Ooh, that sounded so... I was not saying offensive words to our people.
Mi gente, mi familia.
I'm on my nopalero vibes 2022, okay? We're letting the mustache grow thicker.
Oh, wow.
We're just embracing the indigenous features, you know? Gotta tap more into my side, you know? I got my fellow brother over here, day one too. Very mestizo, you know? Very indigenous as well. So it's just time to really just tap back into my roots a little bit, but mixed with like the CHRISXMATT swag too. So
yeah,
I can't. This is me, you know. I talk a certain way. I am a certain way. It is what
you are. Who you are.
I am who I am. I grew up in America. I'm sorry. I like a lot of like just pop culture. I grew up with more watching pop culture from here instead of really the Spanish stuff. Even though I can name some novelas, I can name some actresses. You know, I can do the little stuff that I still remember when my mom would watch them. Yo, they still have novelas.
They do still have novelas.
Like 3 hours at night. I remember they used to come out like 6, 7, and 8, and they would end at 9 p.m. My grandma watched all 3 of them too.
My mom watches
back to back.
My mom watches a lot of them. Sorry, mom, but you do. I'm like, what
novelas.
Mira la novela de la señora, and I'm just like, these
Yo,
people.
only novela I respect is Gaviota. Remember Gaviota?
Yeah.
Gaviota was fire too. I like her. And Ruby. Yo, Ruby was fire. I forgot about Ruby.
You might have been too young, but do you remember Marimar?
Marimar is
It was Thalia.
Was
it Thalia?
That sounds so familiar.
Luz Clarita, that was another
Luz
one.
Clarita, my mom used to watch that one.
Dos mujeres, un camino.
Amarte es mi pecado.
Yo, I'm bringing them back. We can have a whole episode on novelas.
Yo, Nora from Amarte es mi pecado. Oh my gosh.
Casos de la vida real.
Oh, man, that classic.
A Virgen de Guadalupe, classic.
You know what show my grandma used to watch when she was sick? Caso Cerrado. I don't know if you watch. It's like a judge show in Miami.
Nah, I never.
Yeah, it's like Caso Cerrado, and she gets hella mad and she hits like the the hammer. What's it called?
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah,
Our people really be hooked on TV, man. Watching Don Francisco, Gordo La Flaca, Despierta America. Yeah. Yo, man, shout out the culture. Shout out to the culture because it's definitely changing too. They're getting hit with the times.
Yeah,
they're getting hit with the times, and I ain't mad about it. But man, I enjoyed being here with you today, Nicole.
Likewise.
Shout out to everyone out there listening. If you like this first episode, just let us know what you liked about it. Let us know what you didn't like about it. Yeah, I'm open to, you know, my other probably be like, I don't care what y'all thought about it. But on this one, let us know what you think about it. I do want to know.
We want to have more temas para la conversación and, you know, talk about what y'all want to talk about.
Yes. And the more the episodes start dropping, the more you guys start, if you really like the show and really like us, like the vibe, then, you know, everything else will come after that. That will be more inclusive. Right now, we're setting it up. We're setting it up. We're setting it up for you guys. But soon enough, eventually the guests will come. Maybe not on the free episodes, but guests will come. And just the interactions will come. I want to reach out to people. Maybe they can submit their, you know, their plática of the day or whatever they want us to talk about, and we can talk about that, and maybe even call them up on the show. Man, I'm giving too many ideas away. Let me shut up.
And just do some things.
I'm just gonna do some things. Yeah. What I'm gonna do is nothing new though. I'm not saying like I'm the first one to do it, but I don't want to inspire someone to start doing it that's already running a show, because let me just do it first, and then y'all can just hop on the train, you know?
Yeah.
But all right, Nicole. I think it's only right to exit out to this song. Yes, man. See y'all next week. Stay blessed out here. Cuídense. Que Dios los bendiga. CHRISXMATT Healing with Nicole. Sorry. No lo siento. Yes, sir. Y'all take care out there, man.